guys, welcome back to the Final Shot Podcast. Today the podcast is brought to you by the official gloves of the Final Shot Podcast, USG Canada. So you guys can hit up USG Canada and you can get the custom-made Final Shot Podcast gloves in the black and purple, the official bad guy colors, or you can order any of all their gloves and shin guards and clothing. It's all fantastic. Go check out USG Canada. We're also brought to you by Onnit.com. If you're not on it, get on it at Onnit.com and use the promo code TFS Podcast on checkout, and you will save 10%. If you guys are on the YouTubes, you can see who my guest is today. I'm very excited to talk to him again. He's one of the best kickboxers walking the planet, and he's Canadian. Guys, it's the Bellator Kickboxing World Champion, Gabriel Varga.
It's great to be back. Thanks for having me again.
It's always good talking to you, man. You always come in with a different playbook than everybody else.
Yeah, I know my approach to kickboxing and all my training it's so different than the average person's, but it works for me, and that's what you have to just figure out, what works for you.
Let's dive right into this brand new YouTube channel you've just launched. You're putting everything on there. What are you doing? What's going on?
That's exciting for me. I've been meaning to do it for a couple of years, and the concern for me was always fighting has to be first. It needs to be everything, and I can't put any energy anywhere else. And it limits you to a certain extent. Like, obviously, I've been successful in the ring, and that's great. That's what I've always wanted for. That was the main goal. But, I'm reaching that point now where I'm 33. I don't know how many years I'm going to be competing for, another 2 or 3, maybe 4 at the most. So I was going, I have to take advantage of this this promotion that I get and start building up this YouTube channel because, I want to make a go of it and share. I mean, I have so much that I've learned, so I want to share with other people too. I can't go to do seminars at, every gym in the world. So this is a great way to give back.
So I just seen TJ Dillashaw. He's got this online kind of, I'm going to train you to fight. Could this be something that you're going to maybe at home workouts or something like that you want to do?
There's so many avenues to take in the YouTube direction, and I'm not sure 100% yet which way I'm going to go. I'm sort of just testing things out, and there's aside from just learning about all the camera gear, how to film, how to edit. I mean, that's just a whole bunch of information in itself. And and every time I put out a video, I try and look at them and just learn, what are people responding to? What ways to look at comments. I've got lots of good feedback about what people would like to. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure yet, but the main thing I just want to make sure I am doing is giving people insight to what has allowed me to be successful, because when I was coming up through the ranks, I was watching all those K1 champions from different, areas of the world, Thailand, Japan, Holland, and I could just never find really much on them. What are they doing? How are they training? What kind of challenges are they doing physically to make sure they're ready when they get in the ring? So I'm just going to put out a bit of everything and sort of see success.
Our internet keeps getting bogged down here every couple seconds, but we'll work through it anyway.
Okay.
So at least you're not opening Kinder eggs. Those things get a lot of views on YouTube for some reason. You sit there and open up a Kinder egg and you get 1 million views.
No, nothing.
Yeah, I want to put out quality material that sure might not reach the same number of people, but I'm proud of it. And I go, this is really useful stuff instead of just little ridiculous tidbits of information.
Yeah, I respect that. That's better than doing dumb shit on the internet.
Yeah, I'm sure I could do something ridiculous, like go in and do a couple of crazy sparring sessions with some MMA guys and get thousands of views right away. Just go in and hurt some people, but I have no interest in doing that. I want something that's just like I said, quality.
Well, you did contact me and you wanted to come back on the show. You're setting up a bit of a media, a little media tour. What the heck's going on?
I know that's not normally my style. I usually don't bother. It's just not something I love doing, but I'm getting more comfortable throughout the years, just talking to more and more people, giving more information out, and I always get good feedback from fans and people who want to improve. Just like, oh, we loved hearing you talk, and I just go, you know what, it's something I should be doing. I really don't like when I try to find information on somebody, try to find how they've been successful, and I can't. So I've been really fortunate, been given lots of support in my career. So if I can do something that helps somebody get up to that top pro rank, I just feel like it's something I can do now. Being with Bellator has been great for my career. I'm finally making an actual living, and yeah, I can actually afford to do this now.
I like that. Do you have a fight coming up?
I don't have one at the exact moment. I'm talking with my managers. I just fought in December, so. Something between May and, well, probably March, April, May, somewhere in there is what I'm hoping for.
Because I did see a comment online the other day. You asked if Heroes was still a thing.
Yeah, I fought for them over in China for a while, and they were a great promotion. They treated me well. The scoring was fair, and that's a big thing when you go to some of those promotions where you're fighting local talent. You're always worried, am I going to be treated fair? And I did a fight in China early last year, so almost a year ago, and the scoring was definitely not fair, and I was a little disappointed, and definitely, sure they pay me, but I want to go and have a fair fight, so I don't have interest in going back to those ones. So if I do go to China, yeah, I'll go back to Hero Legends, but the main focus is always Bellator now. Those guys are great to me. I love the promotion, so I have actually a new contract with them too that I just re-signed late last year, so I have one fight down on it now, and that has me covered for the next 2 years. So I mean, I'm pretty much set now for a while.
And that last fight was you defending your title.
Yeah, and that was a great fight for me because this is something I'm going to talk in my channel. People always need goals, and I've always had and perform best when I have goals moving upwards. I always want to move up, and for me, that's an easy goal. I have somewhere to go. I have people to beat. But as soon as I get to the top in the past, I just kind of go, well, obviously the clear goal for most people, they just go, well, just defend your belt. But for me, I lost sight of my goal. I went, I'm number one. That's been my goal. I kind of lost sight of, what do I do now? And it was never physical. I always trained just as hard. I have no excuses for losing my belts. It was just mentally when I lost, I was like, yeah, you know what? I don't really care. I'll get it back. Now I have a new goal. And with his last belt, I was a little nervous because I was going, oh, I'm defending again. I don't want a repeat of last time. So I had to actually change up my focus and just go, you know what? I have new goals now. The new goal is not to stay number one. That hasn't worked for me in the past. Make my new goal. I want to keep making lots of money, and I make money keeping the belt. And I want to do my best to continue to move towards that recognition of being the best kickboxer in Canada ever. And that's a tough thing to accomplish. There's been some talented guys, especially with guys like Jean-Yves Thériault back in the 80s, I believe. So, yeah, if I want to accomplish that, I have to keep pushing forward and keep winning. So just change the mindset.
Well, Gabriel, when you say the best kickboxer in Canada, you're in the talks for the best kickboxer on the planet.
Yeah, I mean, there are lots of guys out there who are top notch, and I've taken a couple losses. If I had 2 or 3 losses that would have been wins, then sure, I'd definitely be going, okay, yeah, I think I do deserve a spot, the best ever. But those couple losses, they don't sit well with me. So, I know I'm one of the best in the world, but to argue I'm the best, I don't think there's an argument for that at the moment. I got some more work to do to get back to that point. Even if it's just winning a few more fights, and yeah, there's always work to do. And there's some great guys out there who have crazy records. So, yeah, my goal right now is keep winning and winning and winning, keep my belt, obviously make some money, which is new for me in this sport, and try to get that recognition of the best in Canada.
Well, I don't know who's left for you in Bellator, probably a lot, but I know that there's a constant name being thrown around, and it's a rematch with the Soul Assassin, Kevin Ross.
Yeah, everybody would love to see that fight again, just because it was a fight that was talked about for so long, and he was such a big name for the last decade. And then, the fact that the fight went over, it was only 2 minutes. People didn't get to see enough, I don't think, of what we're really capable of displaying, and it must have been a bummer for him. For me, I've in the past, when I had really fast knockouts, I'd actually get disappointed and kind of be like, oh, I didn't get to showcase everything. but I've tried to change that mindset as well. And I think it's actually helped me in my last couple of fights. You know, go in, if I finish it quickly, celebrate it. Don't be disappointed. And I have been finishing fights now, and I've been happy about it. So yeah, if we get back in the ring, you know, I'll prepare as hard as I can, but I don't imagine it going down like that again. I don't think it'll be such an easy fight. And you know, he's getting a little older now. We both are in fighting years. You know, I think he's about 37, so he's still a great fighter. And yeah, if I can get a victory a second time, that would be great for my career.
Well, the last time we talked about a website that was being launched. What happened with that?
That one's still in development. The general idea was called Fight Reg.
Yep.
And the general idea was it was going to help connect fighters, promoters, sanctioning bodies, just everybody in the fight world and bring them together under one platform. And the owner did the launch, and I did some posts on social media, and he experienced the same thing as me. Just, you know, I can post up a photo of myself working out and get loads of awesome feedback. And then I post up something like, oh, this crazy new website's up and running. Fightreg.com, check it out, and just there was no real interest in that avenue. And yeah, one of the concerns for me with that has always been, oh, you know, does everybody in the fight world want to play together? And I'm not sure if they really do. You know, promoters like to sometimes gym owners want to keep their fighters to themselves, and the promotions don't want to share fighters very often. So, you know, if it comes along and it works, that's fantastic. But so we'll just keep pounding away at it and see what happens.
Yeah, if you quit on your goals, they'll never happen. So, hey.
No. Yeah, I mean, there's so many guys, you know, you lose a fight, you give up. So you launch it once. We definitely haven't just gone and given up. It got sort of pushed off the focus because I had fights and I had the YouTube channel, and he got busy with another job. So it just kind of got pushed to the side for 6 months. So I think sometime this year we're going to try and give it another push, probably the next month or so again, and just keep working away on building it up. But yeah, it's sometimes when you have an idea that's so revolutionary, it's really hard to let people know how great it could be. And my dad said stuff like that in the past. He opened a white collar boxing gym in the 70s before I was born. And back then he just said there was no interest. Everybody who thought of boxing gyms went, oh, you know, it's for fighters, it's dirty, it's not for the average person to go in. And then now they're everywhere, right? Everybody wants to go and do a kickboxing class in the gym, or boxing, or Taibo, or, I mean, that was more in the 90s, but
Billy Blanks.
Yeah, Billy Blanks. Yeah, sometimes when you have an idea and it's too early, that doesn't mean give up. It just means keep pushing. So yeah, I'll work with the owner and we'll keep pushing.
Some of I bring some guys on that are cerebral guys like Steve Claggett. I've talked to Kevin Ross about it. I'm going to talk to you about it, but it's a fighter's mindset. Now, in the gym, we got some amateur guys coming up in the boxing ranks, and we've seen some self-sabotage in the ring where it's no, I can't do this, or that kind of stuff. Does that ever go through your mind when you were young in the sport?
No, I mean, well, sure. Yeah, I would say if it never goes through your mind, you're being unrealistic, because I've seen people who have had that sort of mindset, like, no, I can't lose. I'm going to go in, I'm going to knock the guy out in the first round, and that's going to be it. And those guys, more often than not, are the guys who go and lose, in my experience. I've seen guys with that confidence, like, no reason for them to have that confidence, and it just doesn't work. So I would say yes, anybody who's getting in the ring, who's not nervous and not scared and doesn't have some form of doubt, it's not a good thing, actually, in my experience. But you don't want to have too much of it either, because if you have too much, obviously it's gonna affect you as well. So I'd say a healthy dose. In my experience, I get the butterflies, I get those nerves, and all it makes me do is train harder. And because, you know, you're going, oh, my opponent's probably training hard, I need to go and train harder. I need to push. I need to make sure I'm not taking days off or missing my really hard cardio days. And if I do that, it's just going to keep pushing me higher and higher and higher, making me a better fighter. And the more I train, the more confident I get. So it kind of, for me, is a package.
It's going to be interesting to see, like, the next generation of fighters that are coming up in this Fortnite Xbox world where they're all sitting on their asses playing video games. Work ethic is gone.
I mean, it's interesting because this is at least what my dad has said, and I kind of agree with him. He says the fit are getting fitter, and the guys who are just, you know, sitting around more and more and more. Like, the elite are just getting more elite. because you get these martial arts phenomenons who start from such a young age, and they're getting the whole tutelage, the groundwork, the kickboxing, they're the whole package. But yes, the average person will be spending more time in front of the computer, the TV, and it's going to be harder for them to make that jump. But the guys who really dedicate themselves, they have everything now. I mean, there's no reason to step into the ring and go, or the cage and go, oh, I don't know what groundwork is. I'm just a striker, or vice versa. So I think we'll see some really talented people coming up, but those guys are going to have such an advantage, and they're going to be really hard to beat if there's somebody who's being brought up from a young age and really wants it. So.
Yeah, you kind of remind me of like a Dolph Lundgren kind of Universal Soldier dude. Like you just go in there, get the job done, and leave. You don't care.
I laugh sometimes because people ask me like, oh, how do you celebrate, or how do you feel after the fight? And I go, I have my nerves leading up to it. I win. I have, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 minutes where sort of the stress leaves and the sort of sloughs off the shoulders, and I get that lightweight feeling and I get that happiness, and then 15 minutes later it's gone. And I'm like, I just want to fight, whatever. But, yeah, I don't really care now. And it goes away so quickly for me, and I don't get that super high from it. You see guys jumping and screaming and partying, and I'm like, yeah, it's done. It's in the past now, and don't dwell on it. And maybe that's something that's allowed me to move on past losses as well. I've had a lot of people ask me, can you do a YouTube video on how do you deal with a loss? And I started reflecting on it, and I was going, well, I think the main reason that I don't struggle with losses the way a lot of other people do is I know I gave everything I could in my training camp. There's no excuse. I don't have an excuse. Oh, I could have trained harder. Oh, I could have done this. Like, sure, in hindsight, there's always something you could do different to make yourself better in the ring that night. But I did everything I could in those camps to make sure I was prepared. I came into the ring confident, and then I had a loss, and I can walk away and go, you know what? No regrets. There was somebody better than me that night, but I trained as hard as I could, and that's a good feeling. Even though you had a loss, it's still a good feeling.
Now, my show's kind of changed a little bit. I have a producer that sits in the studio with me. He kind of does a little bit of the legwork for me. Derek, did we have any fan questions come in today?
Yeah, I don't know if you can hear the audio, but I'll shoot them.
I can.
You. Fan questions. We had a reference to the Y crew or the Ramuai, which is the traditional Muay Thai dance before a fight. If you have one, have you done it? Are you familiar with it? And what's your thoughts on it? Is there a place in modern kickboxing for it? That was a question that came in.
Okay. Yeah, so that's a good question. That's actually as they were saying, it's a Muay Thai, and there's a difference between kickboxing and Muay Thai, and Muay Thai elbows and knees. There's elbows and clench. You can throw the elbows and you can have a long clench happening, but you can't get away with that in kickboxing. And another difference as well is the dance beforehand doesn't happen, and that's, I believe, a gym dance. It's for, I think, to honor your gym, as far as I know. But I've never fought in a Muay Thai fight, and I've never followed the super traditional Muay Thai sort of aspects. Like, a lot of people will raise their hands and bow to each other all the time, and I love it. I love that martial arts mentality, and I was actually thinking of doing a YouTube video on the Muay Thai fighters and how they're such gentlemen, and how I really appreciate that whole sport there, because as much as I love MMA, there is that whole element of bad talking your opponent. Appreciate that. I think we should be gentlemen in the sport. So yeah, the Y crew is great, and I love the discipline of that. But no, I've never really adapted to Muay Thai because I'm North American. I'm a kickboxer, and I'm just sort of sticking with that.
Great answer.
And next question we did a deep dive on your Wikipedia page, and we found out that you're a classically trained pianist. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I actually have my my piano right there beside me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
Yeah, so I think that's, things get embellished a little bit. Yes, I can play the piano. I've been doing it since I think I was about grade 3, so around 8 years old. We had my grandfather's piano that got passed on to us. So we were told from a young age we had to do two things in our family. This was when it was just my brother and I. I have 3 siblings, but when I had one, we had to do martial arts. We had to get our black belt, and we had to play an instrument. And there was no debate there. That's just what the parents said. And obviously, we're brought up pretty strict, so you do what your parents say. And I chose to play the piano because we had one. So yeah, I've been playing it for a number of years. I can still jump on and play. I'd only do it once every month now, but yeah, I didn't really go past the point where I wouldn't say I was an expert by any means. I did about 10 years, but in the last 5 years, it was just more, what music do I want to learn? Oh, I want to have fun learning, music from movie themes or something like that. So I'd have my instructor teach us that, as opposed to the classical stuff where I just wasn't having fun with that anymore. It's just like, it's too by the book. I don't like the songs as much. I want to hear a song, get really excited about it, and then go and learn it. So,
great. Yeah. Our next question came from one of the local Muay Thai instructors who teaches a kids program. Says you have a lot of experience teaching kids. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the problems he was talking about was retention with kids. And you not brag, that's the wrong word. You're very proud of the fact that you've had students from 8 years old all the way up to 18 years old. I was wondering if you could share maybe some of your techniques or secrets to keeping students longer, and that he wanted to reference maybe, do you think having a classical ranking system or a belt system in place helps, or maybe is it just being more on the floor playing games, or what could you offer?
So yeah, I mean, I've been teaching kids now since I was 12. I don't know why somebody handed a kids program over to me when I was 12, but they did. I mean, I was a tall 12-year-old, and I was very disciplined and very strict. But yeah, he's like, oh yeah, come over and teach a couple classes with me, and I did. And then all of a sudden, he didn't show up for the third one, didn't show up for the fourth one, and all of a sudden, I was on my own. So yeah, I've been doing that for a long time. I love it. Yeah, my retention rate has been very high with the kids. I don't play games with kids. I've never done that before. I teach generally 6 to 12-year-olds is where I let them enter my program. And then I don't really have an entry program for anybody past that age. All that happens is the kids stay with me. They stay with me. They want to keep training. So I opened up sort of a secondary class for those kids who have been training. And I haven't signed up a new child in that class for I will never really. They just come from the younger program. And yeah, I don't invite anybody. I do no advertising. It's a smaller program. I only have about 30 kids in that one. But again, it's only 3 classes a week. So 30 kids through the 3 classes is great. So yeah, no games. I do things that are fun, maybe a workout. I'll be like, oh, okay, we're going to do this workout today. We're going to turn it into a game because here's a time challenge. You need to do this workout in this amount of time, and then I'll do it again the week after. And kids, even the young ones, get very motivated to challenge themselves and beat their times and match the older kids in class. So I found giving them goals and making sure that they're always motivated is a fantastic way to keep them interested and keep them fit. And then by the same token, that motivation to progress, not just skill level wise, but to actually see that they're moving through ranks is so important. And I specifically know a gym back in Ontario where I did a seminar there one time. I was blown away by the talent of the kids there. I think it's I'm drawing a blank on the name right at the moment, but the kids were amazing, and they had a grading system there. And the guy said the same thing. I think he tried to run the program without a grading system and was not having the same retention. And then because it's kickboxing, you don't want to do belts. There's no real belt system, so he just did shorts. And I think I'll probably end up doing that when I open a full-time gym. I'll just have shorts for adults because I don't want to be giving out belts for kickboxing. So I'll just go, it's just sort of a symbol of how you progress through my gym. And these are the advanced guys who have on the black shorts, and the guys with the white or yellow shorts are sort of beginner level. And you have the testings because people need to have some sort of test, some sort of stress to challenge them and make them feel like they accomplished something. So I think all that is super important in retention for members. People want to advance. They don't want to. Right. I mean, the whole idea of belts is really funny because back a long time ago, there was in Japanese martial arts a white belt and a black belt. and you were a white belt until the instructor came up, didn't have a test, he just awarded you your belt. Could be 10 years later, here's your black belt. And, oh my gosh. Now people want to have testings every month, and people can get their black belts in 3 years, and it's a little ridiculous now. But yeah, for myself, I test the kids about once every 6 months when they're sort of in the first couple years, and then once every year as they get later on. And it still takes them 10 years to get a black belt with me, which is a ridiculously long time, but I don't want to be giving away black belts to people who don't deserve it. So yeah, I mean, retention is super important. I think it's just a matter of finding, trying out different things. I've done the same thing. I try out methods, and if I lose some people, I go, oh, that's not working.
Right.
But yeah, definitely belt system.
Okay. Next question we have came from us from Instagram. They said, with your current Bellator contract, you had the ability and the exercise to go to the MMA route. You referenced in the last podcast, you showed a dislike towards some of the groundwork. I was wondering if you experienced or thought about that, or is it just one of those annoying questions that you get all the time that you're sick of answering?
No. People do ask me that quite often, and I'm always happy. I never get annoyed with those questions because people are curious and interested in my career, and that's an honor that people even care. So yes, I do have that in my contract. The MMA fights. What I found was I would train in between my kickboxing camps for groundwork, and I didn't hate it. I actually love all martial arts. It's just, do I like it enough to get really, really good at it? And I love kickboxing ever since I was young. I've loved striking. I want to get better. I want to do it every day. The groundwork, when I used to do it when I was young, I was happy doing it 2 or 3 times a week. And yeah, anyway, the big difficulty I was finding was I would be getting a little bit of forward momentum learning jiu-jitsu or wrestling, and then the kickboxing fight would come along, and then I'd just go, you know what, I'm not confident enough to do this whole kickboxing camp, prepare for my next, Bellator fight, and continue to do groundwork, because that's going to take away from the normal training that I do. So, I'd take 2 months off from my training camp. You need 2 weeks off after to rest up. And then all of a sudden 10 weeks have gone by, and I jump back in. I'm like, I forgot so much stuff. I feel like I'm starting off from scratch again, just because the detail of that sport is so in depth. It's not, here's a punch, here's a kick, here's a block. It's even learning just all the different positions from the guard. Yeah. Like, holy smokes, I need a book and I need the pen and I need to be writing this all down. And so I went, either I need to commit fully to this and decide, okay, I'm done with kickboxing, I'm doing MMA, or I need to decide, what, kickboxing is what I love. I have a few years left. Maybe I should just take the money that I'm getting paid now, help build Bellator's kickboxing promotion, and be happy with that. So at the moment, that's where I've sort of settled. I'm going to be happy if that's the end of my career and I've only done kickboxing. I will keep looking at the possibility of doing MMA, but yeah, it's not a priority for me anymore.
Great. Another question that came in via the Facebook page is, you have a history in the sport karate, the point fighting, back in your early career, and they were wondering what guys like Michael Venom Page, Raymond Daniels, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, those guys that are really kind of fighting on that sideways point karate style stance, that are making a bigger splash into kickboxing and MMA. If your thoughts on that style and the integration between that, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I did a lot of work to change my style from that to a kickboxing style when I transitioned, because a lot of people said, you can't do kickboxing in this style. And it's awesome that those guys have proved people wrong, because it obviously does work. You just have to be so high level to pull that off. And I actually fight with Raymond Daniels on Bellator now. And the last couple of times I've been on events, he's been there, and we sit down and we have some nice chats. And yeah, it's very interesting talking to him. He was started in the sport, and then he met a couple guys who, like Nicky Holtzkin and Joseph Valtellini, who managed to give him a couple losses. And then he went, okay, you know what? I actually have to learn kickboxing now. I have to learn how to square up my stance. I have to learn how to check a kick. And he did that. And just to this day, he hasn't actually had to demonstrate it yet, because he keeps beating all the guys that they've put against him with his traditional kickboxing style, or karate, with his traditional karate style. So, that anybody who's high level in martial arts, I think, is going to have a certain amount of people that they can beat. Like with his style, he'll beat 95% of guys. But there will be that 5% of elite scary guys who don't match up well with him, who will probably beat him if he's not training kickboxing. But he is. So according to him, if he needs to change his stance, if somebody starts hacking his lead leg, because that's the problem with that side stance, people should be attacking your leg and trying to break it down so you can't throw those fancy kicks. So if somebody does that to him, he said he knows how to square his stance up and check kicks, and he's a great boxer too. He's so fast in there, and his head movement's amazing. So yeah, any of those guys that you mentioned, I'm sure they can all switch their style if they need to, but they're so successful they don't have to right now.
Right. Our final question of the evening so far is it was a guy that actually was on your YouTube channel had a question about pads. More importantly, it was actually a reference back to the last podcast. We were talking about maybe how you were doing 3 rounds of pad work during a week, or not as many, not pads, pardon me, bag work. And right, that reference. And it kind of shook up our comment section about bag work and pad work, and maybe more importantly, it brought us to the point where doing pads seems to be important, and it's more. Of course, it's important. However, what happens in your scenario, like you train with yourself, when you don't have somebody of a high level like you to hold pads? What are some alternative methods to doing pads that you have come up with through your training experience?
So yeah, I mean, I'm super fortunate to begin with. I do a lot of the training myself in creating what I need to in creating my camp. But I'm usually never on my own. I have my brother. I have 2 brothers who will both usually show up if I need them, and I have 2 other buddies who will usually be there. So yes, I don't do a lot of bag work, but I do a lot of pad work, and I do have a lot of support in that sense. Yeah, I would never say to anybody you don't need to do bag work, because bag work is a fantastic way to get your cardio. It's a great way to work it on your own. And even last camp, I had 2 days where my pad holder last minute went, oh, I'm so sick, I can't make it out. So yeah, there's no alternative. I have to go and do bag work, and it's still good. But my problem with bag work, and the reason I don't do it that often, is if I show up to a training session and I have somebody there who's holding pads for me, I feel that the pad work is far superior to the bag work. But you need a high-level pad holder, I think, who even knows you quite well to make it better than bag work. Because on the bag, you can go at your pace, you can pick your shots. That's a great thing to be able to do. You're working on your own. But sometimes if you don't have enough motivation, you're not going to push yourself the same as a good pad holder will. So if I have a high-level pad holder, the work far outweighs that I can do on the bags by myself. But if I had a choice between a mediocre pad holder and bag work, I'll pick bag work for sure.
I'm in the opposite right now, where I don't have a specific pad holder. So if somebody shows up that can hold pads, you're getting put to work. But most of the time, I'm 10 to 20 rounds a day on a bag.
Oof. Yeah, I mean, I'm very different too, in I guess the sense that I get very frustrated doing the same workouts over and over. I did the routine in Thailand for 10 weeks while I was there. Wake up, go for your 8K run, come back, do your clench, hit the bag for 5 rounds, do your pad. Same thing the next day, same thing later that day, and you repeat all week long. And I was just.
Yeah, you want to shoot yourself.
That's my mindset. Yeah, I like to keep everything fresh. If I go out running tomorrow morning doing my sprints, the next day if I have to do my sprints again, the same routine this week, I'm going somewhere else just to switch up the visuals. I don't want to see the same place. I'll switch up the pattern of my workout too. I don't like doing the same pattern. I don't like always starting with skipping and then always doing shadow boxing and then always doing pads. And I like to switch it up, because when your body gets set in a routine, it becomes comfortable, things become easy. And if you go into a fight and you haven't surprised yourself constantly and switch things up, then you might not be in as good shape as you think you are. You can just switch up routines, just switch the pattern, and you go, whoa, that was a lot more tiring than I thought it would have been. You're doing the exact same thing, but so yeah, I mean, bag work is always super important, and if you have to do it, that's great. I'm just the same, if I have to do 10 rounds of bag, I just want a space where I have 5 or 6 different types of bags. I don't want to hit the same bag, because then it's really, really upset.
I switch it between two different bags every 5 rounds. So we have like one of those big round ball ones.
Yeah.
I like that one because you can rip uppercuts on it, and I like to do
Mm-hmm.
that. And then I have another bag that actually really gasses my arms out because it's so heavy. It's like 200 pounds.
Oh yeah, one of those big guys.
Yeah.
Jeez, they don't even move at all.
Yeah.
Feel like you're doing very minimal.
I can get it to move a little bit, but nothing where it's nothing crazy. Not like a 100-pound bag or a 70-pound bag where I can make it touch the ceiling.
Yeah. Well, I actually had somebody who commented on one of my videos and said that they'd like me to post up something about bag routines. And I was going, how do I make a video on bag routines interesting? You know, you jump on the bag and you hit the bag, blah, blah, blah. What else do you want me to tell you? And then I started thinking more about what I do with my bag work. And I went, I actually have a lot to share because I don't just go on the bag and just do 20 rounds of bag work or 10 rounds of bag work. If I had to do that, which like I said, last camp I did, every round I'm going to do something different, and I'm going to make okay, this round is only hands, but I'm only allowed to do jab cross, and I'm going to have to do it I'll jump in, jab cross, jump out, right away, back in, back out, in and out, and then I'll move around and I'll take a little break. So I'm always doing stuff like that. And I thought about one of the routines I do, and I'm going to do a video on that because people have been asking me over the last year, what are you doing differently now that you're KOing people? And I've been thinking and racking my brain and like, well, it could just be mindset. You know, I feel a little bit meaner in the ring now. I used to not like to hurt people, and now I'm going, okay, you know what? I'm okay with hurting people now. If something changed, I don't know. But I've also had 3 or 4 new routines that I've added in. And one of the bag routines that I do is very different than most people's bag routines. It's just 5 seconds on, 5 seconds off. I do that 3 times. You just hit as hard and as fast as you can for 5 seconds. You need somebody behind the bag holding for you. So my brother and I do this when we're together. I hit for 5 seconds. I bounce for 5 seconds. I do that 3 times, and then he goes and he does the same thing.
Okay.
And we do that for a 3-minute round. So you're only doing 15 seconds of work in your first 30-second period, and you do that 3 times, alternating. So you're only doing 45 seconds of work, which is usually not my style. I usually want to be going as much as I can. But I've been doing that, and because I'm doing these short little periods, it has to be 100%. And usually I kind of do pad work, 90, 95. So maybe that's something different that's helped me improve my power and my speed. I don't know. I've been racking my brain, and I went, you know what? This is a worthwhile YouTube video, and something that I think people could benefit from. So you can switch up your bag routines and make it interesting for sure.
So I'll say something I do
No
on
question.
the bag a lot. Is we have instead of a 10-second clapper at our gym, we have a 30-second buzzer before the rounds are gonna end, and I go as hard as I can for the last 30 seconds of every round.
Just go. Yeah,
Just
nonstop.
go as hard as I can for
Yeah.
for every round of the last 30 seconds.
Yeah, we used to do that at the gym I used to train at Pedirex. There's always a 30-second buzzer, and the end of tie pad or bag work was always just either like nonstop straight punches, nonstop round kicks, something. I stopped doing that when I moved on and started creating my own routines because my pad work is usually so intense anyway. I don't feel like I need to do that. I'm going, it's just as tiring doing the variety. And the variety for me is what really makes the fights that much easier because you have people throwing at you, you're countering, and that whole element of pad work, which you don't get in bag work, is why I like the pad so much more. Yeah. It's not just offense, it's the defense as well. But that 30 seconds at the end of rounds is a great way to spike that cardio.
That's a good way to end your fights too.
Yeah. Well, if you need to steal a round or you need to put that little blast in where it's 100%, it's definitely good to have the body used to that motion.
Exactly. Did you contact me for a reason? Did you have a hidden agenda coming on this show today, Gabriel?
No, not really. I just went. It's been a while, and
wanted to come on and talk shit. All right.
Perfect. Yeah, just come on and talk, and yeah.
I'm seeing in the background you've got a nice Gabriel Varga poster, Bellator kickboxing poster. You're obviously sponsored by Hayabusa.
Well, this one I can't even actually tell you which one this is from. I obviously have a banner when I go in and fight now. So my managers and get all my sponsors, they send over the banner. Or the banner gets held up before the fight. This is one of the 2 or 3 ago. So I have a variety of guys that sponsor me, but honestly, I just put it up there because if I didn't put that there, you guys would be looking at some flowers or some fancy landscape because it would be my wife's background. So I was like, you know what? I think I should put up something somewhat fight banner related, and I happen to have one of those lying around. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to throw that up.
And Luna Bar, do you actually eat those things?
Yeah,
You
definitely.
I've never had one. I just wanted to know if they were good.
Oh yeah, I was actually in one of my last YouTube videos when I was fighting in Genoa. I did a little sort of video on everything that I do in a couple days leading up to the fight, and I was just taking out all my bars. And I can't even remember if I put that in the video because when you come back, you have like a couple hours of footage. You're like, man, I have to fit this into 3 minutes. What do I cut? What don't I cut? But I had this one thing where I had my big stack of bars that I'm so excited for once I weigh in. And those are one of the bars for sure where I'm like, oh my gosh, I get to eat bars and to get those calories back on. And yeah, I have a whole bunch of different bars that I take with me on fight trips. Just because when you go over to those places, I've made the mistake too many times now of being like, I'm going to Italy. There's got to be everything I could possibly want food related over there.
Mm-hmm.
And then you make weight and you can't find something. You're like, darn it, I should have just packed it. I should have just bit the bullet, gone and bought it beforehand. So. Yeah.
See, I'd be nervous of going somewhere weird and then eating something that would make me sick.
Yeah, it's always a bit of a risk. I mean, from what I've noticed and being on these big promotions, most of the top fighters seem to be eating whatever's there. I mean, there's the few guys, like even Raymond Daniels, for instance, leading up to the fight, he's super strict with his diet. He actually has a timer.
Oh,
and,
wow.
and we were at the press conference and he's like, oh, my timer, my food, I'm not getting to eat on the right time of the day. And I was going, whoa, really? You have to eat it at a certain point in the day? I've never even heard that before. Like I just eat when I'm cutting weight. I just eat when I'm like, okay, I can't wait any longer. I have to eat now, otherwise I'm going to fall over. That's usually when I eat when I'm cutting weight. But he had everything timed out, and he was going to the grocery store and actually going to the hotel kitchen and having them cook specific food for him. I just kind of go out and I'm like, I need a salad. Let's go and find a restaurant. I'll get something that's healthy. If it has some food in it that I can eat, like croutons in the salad, I just put them to the side. Mm. So yeah, I'm a little bit more relaxed about it. But there's such few amount of things you can eat during that point anyway that it's really hard to go wrong. I mean, how do you mess up a salad?
Yeah, I don't know. If you put some shitty dressing on there, I guess that'd be the only thing.
Yeah, you just have to. I mean, that's the thing with all salad. I think nowadays, like my wife goes out with me, and she's like, "Always get dressing on the side for me. I don't want it on there because it's just there's no point in getting a salad if you get it with dressing because you're not losing any calories. Those things are just packed with calories."
Yeah, that's true. I see my guy Derek over here. He's trying to write something down.
Another fan question came in.
Oh yeah, another fan question. Did you watch the Floyd Mayweather fight versus the kickboxing fellow over in Ryzen?
Teshin.
Yes. That poor little kid.
I certainly did watch it. I was really fortunate because I kind of forgot that it was happening, and I was curious. I didn't even know if it was happening the night before. I'm like, I have hardly heard anything in the last week about this fight, and I thought there would be new notices everywhere. It's happening. It's going down. It's not happening. So I just happened to turn it on, and somebody had posted the fight up, and I got no spoilers or anything, and just got to actually watch it. I wasn't surprised with the outcome, and I definitely didn't think it was a fixed fight. I know that there's so many back and forth things of people, and even Brendan Schaub. Am I saying his name right? He has a podcast. And I was watching something with him, and he was saying, "Oh, that's definitely a fixed fight. They need to bring that Japanese guy over and get him some acting lessons." I was like, no. That was not a fixed fight, and I'm probably with everybody else. That first knockdown was kind of like, did he really get hit? I need to watch that, and I watched it over and over. And you see the spot where it landed, like right up there, and you hear the connection when the shot lands. You're like, okay, that made a lot larger sound than I would have thought. Mm-hmm. And the size difference. I just don't think people fully appreciate, they hear about guys like Conor McGregor and Manny Pacquiao and all these guys jumping up in weight, and they don't realize how exceptional those guys are to be able to do that. I mean, I've been asked before, are you going to move up to 155 and fight, Petrosian? Are you going to move up and fight all these guys? I'm going, no, I'm not going to do that. That sounds like just madness to me. I don't want to fight a guy who has 20, 30 pounds on me. And the fact that those guys do it, I think, doesn't really resonate with everybody how amazing it is. So in that fight, Teshin was outsized by 20, 30 pounds, and that's all that happened. He got hit, and people don't always realize how hard Floyd does hit. Sure, maybe he's not knocking guys down in his weight class, but he's also weighing in. He weighs in at what he walks at, pretty much. Like I saw something recently with him. He eats pasta the night before he's making weight.
Yeah.
So he's a small guy for his weight class. So if he fights somebody 20 pounds less than him or 30 pounds less than him and he touches them, well, sure, they're going to go down.
Yeah. It's very true. I think that young fella that he fought, like, fights at maybe 125 or something like that. It's pretty light.
Yeah, I think he used to fight really, really small. He's moved up. I think he's held 3 K1 belts, if I'm not mistaken. And it could be, but I'm pretty sure he's done 3 weight class jumps, and I can't imagine he's put all that muscle on. It's probably just more he's that good that he's been able to move up. So I think we're probably talking about somebody who was 115 at one point, then probably 125, and might have had a couple fights at 135, but being outsized. But skill level, he's great, but as always, he's not a boxer. Yeah. And to even fight a boxer who's one of the best in the world at his weight class, he'd still lose.
Yeah.
But now you're talking about the best boxer of our generation ever. Well,
it's not even close.
No, it's not. I mean, that would be like Floyd jumping in against like Giorgio Petrosian, or actually somebody even bigger. Put Floyd in a kickboxing fight with somebody at 170 pounds, then is it fair? No, that's not fair. So it was just a mismatch.
A kickboxing fight with Floyd Mayweather would be over in the first round as soon as he got hit with a leg kick. It'd be over.
Oh, of course. If the guy has any sense, you would not let your hands leave your head at all, and you would just hack the leg, and just make sure. Yeah, it would be a terrible fight for him because he likes that far range. He's not an inside fighter. If you put me against a boxer like Marcos Maidana that fought Floyd Mayweather, that would be a harder fight because he would not want to let you kick, and he might be able to pull it off better than the average boxer. But somebody like Floyd, he wants to box right at that perfect kicking distance.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just all this cross-discipline stuff is super interesting, but it's just for the spectacle of it all. It's not really necessary.
Hey, I enjoyed watching it.
Oh, it's people have been talking about it more than most fights this year.
It's when's the next Bellator kickboxing card then?
I'm waiting on that. I think most people are always waiting on that. That's the one downside of Bellator kickboxing. I love the promotion. I love the people in them. I love everything they do, but it's just a little difficult always knowing when the next event is going to be, because they primarily promote them in Europe, and they don't do a whole lot of European Bellator cards outside of Ireland and England, I believe. They've started upping those, but kickboxing-wise, they generally do them in Hungary or Italy at the moment. So they have a very small amount of fighters signed. Myself, Raymond Daniels, a few other guys who are super elite. And we just basically wait for them to announce, like, oh, we're doing kickboxing or Bellator Kickboxing 12, which will be the next one. We're just waiting. Is it going to be March, April, May? Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen more and more stuff of you popping up on the Facebook and online. Maybe it's because we talked. I have no fucking idea. But there's been Bellator stuff that's come up with pictures of you on it. I didn't know if there were, because I hadn't heard anything. Normally it'll come on Spike TV or I'll get a notification that there's a kickboxing event coming up, but I haven't heard anything.
Yeah, they don't have one planned at the moment that I know of, and I'm hoping I would know of it before most other people would. They're not going to announce it and not tell me. So yeah, I don't know the exact time. But yeah, now if you want to watch the Bellator kickboxing events, they actually changed it up starting at the last one. It's not even Spike anymore. It's Paramount.
Yep.
But they're not airing it live on Paramount. They're actually putting it on DAZN. It's live on DAZN. Oh. And it's live on their Bellator app, which is actually free. So yeah, my sister said that was fantastic. She said she was, I think, on a break at work just when my fight started. She was like, "Oh, I'm gonna log in, throw on the Bellator app, see if Gabe's fighting," and she just did, and it's like, "Oh, perfect high definition quality right there live." Before Bellator kickboxing was fights went over there at 7, and then they'd have the air delay, and the fights were airing after the results were already known. So I think this is much better now because people can just go on and watch it live on the app, and or they can go to DAZN because that's a big new site now. So yeah, people can choose, but yeah, it's not on TV, which for myself is a bit of a bummer because there's always that extra people that you would reach when it's just on TV. These, anybody who's going to watch it on DAZN or the Bellator app are obviously already kickboxing fans. They're there. Put a fight, fans do that, but like I said, everything else about Bellator is fantastic, so it's a small price to pay.
All right, Gabriel, let's wrap this up. We're at about the hour mark. I know you got sponsors, you got people you want to thank. Go ahead.
Oh man, my list of sponsors is always ridiculous. So, yeah, Hayabusa is one of my big sponsors, and I actually have a training segment coming up with them that people can look forward to. I was actually there last year for 2 days. They flew me out. We did a bunch of filming, kickboxing tutorials. It's going to be more beginner level, but hey, we just went around. They have a beautiful gym next to them, and we just went around and filmed all these beginner sort of things, and they're going to be releasing those this year. So that was fantastic to work with them. And yeah, as always, I don't really pick out anybody in particular. I just say thanks to everybody who supports me because, yeah, as much as, a lot of my career is based on me getting up and training myself, I couldn't do it without everybody. Guys like you helping support my career, all the fans watching, and all the people back home who make sure I have pad holders, or my family who make sure if I'm stressed out, I come back and there's food for me. There's always people taking care of me. So yeah, I'm fortunate.
Well, thanks for making the time to come on. We were supposed to talk earlier in the day. Screwed that up.
No, I messed that up. It was my fault.
But yeah, I wasn't gonna let you get away today without coming on because why the fuck not?
It's good to get on. Yeah, before I was like, oh man, you know what I was doing last night? My own fault. I went and filmed last night with my brother at the gym, and we were out filming for the YouTube channel till probably about 9 till 11, and then I got back home, ate some food, and then I wanted to see what the footage looked like, and then all of a sudden it was 2 a.m. and I was editing videos, and then I woke up around 10 and was feeling kind of spacey, like, I think we didn't set a time for the podcast. I'll just check in a little bit, and it was too late. So I'm sorry. That was my fault.
It's all good, man. It's always a pleasure talking to you. Best of luck in whatever's going to come up next for you. Make sure you tell me ahead of time so I can do something for it.
Awesome, yeah.
And, yeah, keep contacting me. Keep coming back on. It's always a pleasure talking to you.
Perfect. It's a pleasure being on because, yeah, we always get to, you can only share so much on social media. So you put up a little post, and I'm like, oh, that doesn't really help anybody. So it's always good doing these because if people have. I like the questions today. That was great. I love answering questions.
Yeah, we're gonna do a heck of a lot more than more of that now that I've got another guy here with me that can feed it to me and keep track of all that stuff because I'm stupid. I get punched in the face way too much.
You got to have that secondary guy there for sure. That helps.
Yeah. All right, my man. It was a pleasure. We'll talk to you later.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, well, that was Gabriel Varga we just talked to, Derek. You had some good fan questions.
Yeah, 6-time world champion. Had some great questions come in. It was really fun. Really interesting to see what it has. It was quite an honor to have such a high-level fighter on the podcast.
Yeah, the Canadian Dolph Lundgren.
Yeah, but I did check out his YouTube channel. I didn't get to talk about that. It's really well done, and I suggest anybody that is a fan of combat sports to check out Gabriel Varga on YouTube. Got some great fight tips, great ideas going on. So I was a little disappointed though his fightreg.com wasn't
not up and running yet, but launched. That's a hard thing.
It is.
It's a tough thing.
He made an interesting point, referencing like,
do we all want to play together?
Yeah.
Is it a good idea though? Like, is it a good idea to put a whole bunch of Neanderthals on a fucking webpage? Shit's gonna happen. Like,
unfortunately,
it's gonna turn into fucking the Sherdog forums or something like
that. Right.
You know
it's
what
just
I'm saying?
Fucking insult fest,
but whatever.
I hope. I don't secretly want. I want it to work, but there's just some obstacles that need to be addressed.
In a perfect world, I would love it to work.
Right.
It's a great idea, and I respect it, but what I would try to avoid is it turning into top MMA news for fucking news feeds and with the people talking bullshit on there and then people say dumb shit.
If you guys are just turning in now, Gabriel Varga was referencing a website he's having developed called fightreg.com, which we bring fight promoters, fighters together in a single forum where you could contact each other, So you could either organize sparring or contact a promoter, see if fights are coming up, just like a one-stop shop. But was just recently talking about all the troubles he had with it getting going. But
we're going to do a couple minutes.
Sure.
10, 15 minutes. Well, we went on a trip.
We did. Off to Medicine Hat this weekend. We had two of our fighters, local fighters. The more closer to our heart, I guess, would be your nephew.
Hunter, yeah, he fought.
And his second fight.
Yeah.
And we drove in that day, got up at the old 5 a.m. to drive.
Well, I'm an idiot, and I didn't do the chime change either.
I don't know.
But we showed up. We were there early.
Yeah.
Whatever. But
nice little hotel.
Yeah.
Well put together. Super organized. Stole a continental breakfast. That was not...
Everybody stole the continental breakfast.
Everybody rolled into that place. Waffles and hash browns, and it was
eggs, bacon, sausage, bagels, muffins.
Everybody rolled in that poor little hotel and just robbed it blind of food. They didn't say shit though. So
no, they kept bringing in shit.
Yeah.
All right, eat it up, fuckers.
Yeah. So that was interesting. Yeah, got to the hotel. You met some old friends.
Ran into Warren and Vlad from Southpaw. Boxing, Steve Claggett's coaches, they were there coaching their kids. Who else I ran into? Trevor McKinnon. Ran into Moses.
Trevor McKinnon's out of
Red Deer.
Ran
into Moses from Regina. Kenny from fucking
Sand
Hills.
Right.
I want to say it's fucking Leader all the time, but
is it?
It's Sand Hills. I don't know.
I think
they're really close to each other. Leader's like the fucking just
closest thing.
Yeah.
To it. Oh, neither here nor there. Going through the fight card, clubs from Lloydminster, Calgary.
Deshaunda's girl was from Spokane, Washington.
Deshaunda is the second fighter we had on the Saturday or the Sunday. The Sunday. Yeah, let's talk a little bit about the fight. Your first time coaching Hunter? Second time?
Oh, I've been coaching him for almost a year now, but second fight. We should have 3, but shit happens.
Started with a little wardrobe malfunction. What happened there? Something.
Oh yeah. So they didn't tell us in the coaches meeting that you weren't allowed to wear hats and you had to wear like some fucking black pants that are fucking. I don't know, man.
Well, I've been to the KO events with you, and that's never been an issue.
No. This is an amateur thing.
It's an amateur thing.
So I'm standing on the ring apron, and the guy says, "Yeah, you got to take off your hat." And I simply looked at him, and I said, "You probably should have fucking told me that before I came out here with my hat on, because now I don't want to talk to you about it. Right. I want to coach my guy, and I don't give a fuck what you're saying to me."
Right.
And then he kindly made a comment about my pants. And
Ooh.
So I threw my hat on the ground, and I told him that he could leave, and we'll be out of here shortly.
Right.
But I like normally in a situation like that, I would hand it amicably.
Yeah.
But I was kind of in the mode where my guy's gonna fight here in 10 seconds, and now you're fucking with me right now. So can you just leave me alone, and we'll deal with it after the fact?
Right.
Like, okay, my hat's off. You don't need to talk to me about my pants. I'm not. I can coach in the corner with my underwear on.
Right.
But I'm not running back to go borrow a pair of slacks.
Right.
From some fucking guy in the back. It's not happening.
Well, the fight wasn't with. Before we tell you the outcome, the fight wasn't without, I guess, controversy. They picked a fight for the guy, for Hunter. Pardon me, and he seemed to be underskilled.
Well, the prearranged match that was supposed to happen was Hunter versus Gabe. Is that his name? Somebody from so he was the guy that fought that Luke kid that Hunter beat, and Luke won the provincial title at our event.
Sure.
So Hunter was supposed to fight the other kid. The kid never showed up.
Okay.
So we got there was at the coaches meeting, there was the usual fuck around where they wanted. This was Kenny's guy from Sandhills that we ended up fighting.
Okay.
His name was Brennan. So Brennan was going to fight a guy from Southpaw Boxing that was 15 pounds bigger than him or 10 pounds bigger than him. And we're like, well, that doesn't make any sense when him and Hunter are literally 2 pounds apart from each other. But what they thought was Hunter had a prearranged match, but this kid never showed up.
Okay.
So then we got matched with Kenny's guy. And this was Kenny's guy's first fight.
And Kenny has a relationship with our club anyway. So
Kenny's a great guy, man. He's nice.
He's a long history. No, not so it wasn't just a random coach versus
Long history, yeah. The fight didn't last long.
It didn't.
No.
And I'll probably be posting the footage up right after this podcast. A one round shitstorm.
A 30-second shitstorm. It didn't last long. Would I have liked it to go into the second or the third round? Yeah.
Right.
Would I?
Well, I guess the problem was
he was just overmatched.
Right.
That's what it was. Later did I find out that kid doesn't really train
much.
Like he was there last year for half a minute, and then he did 5 classes before this fight.
Yeah, it's hard to point fingers or to blame anybody.
I'm not blaming anybody.
Or saying anything wrong. We're not.
What I will tell everybody is that we take it serious, and we're coming in. This is what this kid wants to do. He wants to be a professional boxer. Right now is where we lay the foundation for that.
Sure.
So we're not going to come in and play. Like there's if they say, okay, Hunter, you have a sparring match today. Mm-hmm. Okay, we're going to go spar, right? I don't want to disclose too many things on here, but there was a conversation that was had that maybe this kid wasn't quite up to snuff.
Okay.
And I said I'd talk to Hunter. We're in it to win it, man. I'm sorry. Because realistically, when I look at the sport of combat sports, whether it's amateur or pro, and you're fighting for a W or an L. What do you want? Do you want the win or the loss? We don't want to lose.
We didn't have any history on him.
There's no history. I don't know. If I had known, if somebody had called me a week ago and said, okay, we've got this kid. He's trained 5 times in his whole life. No, we're not interested in that. Why would we be interested in that? And this isn't shitting on anybody.
Right.
But okay, whatever. It happened. It was over quick, and I hope that kid keeps training.
I did check on you in the locker room, change room, and you were having a conversation with his father.
Yeah.
And it went well.
Yeah, they weren't angry, but some tears were shed, in the locker room.
Okay.
But it's gonna go with the territory, man. These kids are 13 or 14 years old. Do you get punched in the face? You get embarrassed in front of a couple hundred people? Yeah. Fuck, man, that sucks.
It does.
But I just said, don't quit.
Yeah.
Don't let one. Did you have fun? Yeah, I had a blast. Okay, go back into the gym. Trust your coach. Kenny's a good coach. He'll get you into shape to fight.
Right.
But one thing I will say is don't put people in fights that have 5 days training or 2 months training. It's not enough.
Well, that kind of bleeds into the second fight with Deshaunda.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot could be said that maybe the opposite happened with Hunter. I don't have the footage of the fight.
I didn't see it.
To make any kind of comment on it. But unfortunately, she came out.
She came out on the losing end of the fight. I know what she brings to the table, and she'll come and try to kill you.
Okay.
I hope that's what happened.
Right.
I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
Nick said that she took it to her. Taking it to somebody and winning are two very different things.
Right.
I don't know what happened. I wasn't there.
Yeah, we just straight off our conversation with Gabriel, in reference to mindset. I hope that this doesn't spiral into something.
That's always the biggest concern of mine is this young kid takes a loss. Okay, fuck it, I'm done.
Yeah.
I don't think she'll do that.
No. Okay.
No.
I just
she doesn't strike me as a quitter.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? She's been in there with bigger kids, adults. She's not a quitter. Would I have liked to have seen her at the gym?
A little more often.
Yeah.
It was weird timing right after Christmas
with
Christmas break.
I'm not mad at it.
Right.
But in a perfect world, yeah, we would have been training for that 2 weeks. Hunter and I trained for that 2 weeks. We knew we were fighting.
Right. Back on the Hunter train, what do you got planned for him next?
We'll be in Lloyd February 23rd. We're pretty much guaranteed a match
February 23rd? Lloyd Minster.
So we're pretty much guaranteed a match there.
It's still never a for sure in amateur.
It's never a for
sure.
sure.
Yeah.
I know Deshawnda will have a match there because that's where that little girl Sydney's from.
Right.
So maybe they'll do the rubber match.
A trio. Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Amateur boxing is definitely interesting, coming from being involved with professional stuff for so long. It's definitely different, and I don't quite understand it.
Okay.
Because when you put somebody in a combat situation, you're supposed to try to win,
right?
Not help out the other guy on the other side or the other girl on the other side. Like if you're doing a sparring match or a fun box, so it's two very different things. But if we're actually competing for a gold and a silver, silver's last, gold is first.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you want first place. So why? It is what it is.
Right.
At the end of the day, I'm not mad. I hope Sandhills isn't mad. I hope Kenny's not mad, and I hope that young kid's not mad, and I hope he's not discouraged.
Right. You know, it was a fun trip nonetheless.
There was fun aspects.
I'm just reading your body language right now. I don't know where to go from here.
Listen,
so.
man, I smelled farts all day today. I smelled them.
They were disgusting. And
gross.
Normally it was a walk box Edmonton thing, but I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was a nervousness, but it was a Fart City. 5 people in a 2014 Ford Escape.
Little fucking thing did well.
Yeah, it did. Little thing motored all along pretty good. But yeah, I don't know if those vents were set up wrong, but it was you peel paint in that car.
Hunter's fucking asshole was the problem.
That guy farts sleeping. If you didn't, I didn't.
It's worse when he's sleeping because you don't hear them. There's no warning. It's just, and then, or my kid in the back just.
Dry heaving and our eyes are watering. Good old that's
like there was a couple of them where every window should have been cracked down in the vehicle because it stunk that bad.
Yeah, you got you slid some shopping in, grabbed some jackets, went to the local arcade, Little Caesars, or what is that thing? Escape?
Oh, that was Galaxy Cinema.
Galaxy Cinema thing.
Yeah. Went in there, played some games.
Got ripped off, you know.
Oh yeah, ripped off. It was fun though.
It was, yeah, you can't put a price on that.
Good time.
Yeah. Did some family stuff. Stopped in some in-laws, and made some bread, and that's when we went deep in some World of Warcraft. And these people are pushing 60. Fair to say, 55,
yeah, 50s. I'm not gonna say 60s. I'll get killed next time.
Yeah, I'll take the blame on the podcast for that. But
it was my sister-in-law's mother, who is not my wife's mother. It's a fucking hard situation to explain, but everybody's cool.
Everybody's super cool. Welcomed me, a stranger, and gave me some wonderful beef and barley soup, and took me to a games room that would rival.
Bro, they had a whole room dedicated to just World of Warcrafting, man. They had this desk that stretched the length of the room,
right,
with 2 computer setups,
dual monitors. Right.
We're talking about fucking paladin dwarfs, these cow things, huh?
Ditch Pig.
Yeah,
tell me
Pig.
about Ditch Pig. Not only her main character was named Ditch Pig, she is an ordained minister and a priest. Playing World of Warcraft.
And her husband is a retired military vet who was an artillery not a gunner, but he handled the I feel that I want to say he handled the manufacturing of the artillery. He did tours in Afghanistan, Hungary,
everywhere,
Iraq, places. But
Saudi Arabia.
So shout out to him. Thank you for your service. 29 years in the military. He's now retired.
Retired, but working for the fuck of it right now.
Still working as a civilian for the military.
And he told us his pensions is crazy. Like, it seems like a pretty good deal to get into the military and get out.
Not bad, bro.
Yeah, like he's doing great. He's got all his buddies. He's got like everything set up.
Super nice too.
Yeah, so that was fun. Then what else was?
Listen, I'll say World of Warcraft is a world I'm never going to enter. And
I just didn't get it. I'm sorry. Like I tried my best to understand. She took me for a little tour. I guess if I'm gonna be nice and say a young 50-year-old lady, I can understand it. Who's been married 3 times and loves it.
She's been playing it since the
20 years.
The beginning of World of Warcraft, though. Like, I get it.
Can you play a game for 20 years? Like,
Yeah, you can. We've seen it.
Wow, geez, I'm really tired of Tetris already.
So this one is her mother is the one that sexually harasses me.
There was a reference to that. If you guys don't know the backstory, I was walking up to the house and Tanner pulls me aside and he got kind of weird and whispers in my ear, I don't know if I want to go in. I'm like, what are you talking about, man? Every time I meet this lady, she grabs on my ass. I'm like, what? Yeah, it's like awkward. I'm like, okay, well, she's an older lady. Let her have her fun the first time. Because, yeah, but this isn't ending. This is what happens every time.
It's getting worse.
Yeah, it's not funny anymore. I'm getting the Me Too things getting really close to my soul here. But it wasn't her. It was her
that's her mother.
Yeah. But there was no short of reference of her grabbing a piece of you for what was a reference for her? Because this was common knowledge in that family. That she.
Oh, yeah, common knowledge.
I thought it would be just you bullshitting me. Fuck
no, they think it's a joke.
You're like, it ain't a joke.
Physically bothered by it. They're like, oh, I was fucking just doing it. No, man. Stop it. It is what it is.
Could be worse.
It could be worse. Like, the day that she comes running at me naked, I'm fucking... I'm never coming back.
We'll be scarred for life.
Never.
Yeah.
But yeah, Hunter got away with a first round victory. Deshonda dropped I don't know what it was. I'm gonna guess a decision.
Right.
All around.
Well, this is the first time that you've really kind of taken boxers really, or Hunter really getting serious with, and really kind of pushing forward and getting a competitive team going in Swift Current,
Yeah.
So we'll see more of this coming.
You see more of Hunter, that's for sure. I know that.
He's pretty jazzed up about it,
He's fired up about it. He likes it. It keeps him out of trouble. And he's got a support system, so...
And he's well liked. Like, he's starting to get recognized by the other fighters and others.
Yeah, they all know who he is now.
And they call him, bring him. I'm going to bro out with him.
Yeah.
So it's good to have that kind of little tribe with you.
Bro.
Yeah, it is. And it's very much like that because after going to all these different events, we're starting to see a lot of the same faces over and over again. And it becomes like almost like a hockey parent almost, but different.
I had a few of those guys come up to me and say, hey, nice to meet you. I listen to the podcast.
Yeah. I overheard that. Yeah.
You're 12.
Yeah. That's but they just absorb that content,
It's all good.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, as you say that. Yeah.
Well, what are we doing? We're going to get the fuck out of here?
Yeah, it was just a quick check-in. Did a quick, wanted to let everybody know how we're doing and what's up. And grab those amazing new gloves. Speaking, there's two shout-outs we got to give, Tanner. It would be fair not to mention it.
Yes.
Too. First one's behind me. Boom. Raina Irons. Raina Irons.
Is that her last name was Irons?
Irons.
Just irons in the fire.
Right. She, if you guys can see this or not, I'll have to pan this camera over. Maybe you can give a little history about Tanner.
Well, I was joking around and told her that she'd paint a portrait of me or something like that, and then she ended up painting the Final Shot Podcast logo, which we've now changed.
Yeah, we've actually, that was our second shout out. We had one of our graphic designers take the logo and make some modifications to it after seeing
Miss Cynthia AO
out of Quebec, Quebecois.
The Bloc Quebecois Tabarnak.
Good for her.
Cynthia from Quebec, thank you very much.
We honestly very much appreciate it. And we appreciate more than you think because actually our last designer pulled a dick move.
I can't even say his
don't
blast his ass.
Right,
motherfucker.
So we contacted an old designer to help us out with, and he went rogue real fast. My friend of 10 years.
They wanted $50,000
or some. He was being silly.
Yeah, but don't ask me for $50,000.
We wasn't very polite about it at all. We asked him to do some modifications. We're quite willing to pay for anything you do. We always pay. But he was being a complete. We wanted a percentage, I believe, of every time it was used.
Being a fuckhead.
So it really kind of sent us on a spin.
Yeah. That
day, and Cynthia came in and saved the day, and I wanted to thank her very much.
The other person I was going to hit up was Big Gay Dan.
Yeah.
He was the semi-second option.
Yeah, I don't know if all the podcast users are familiar with Gay Dan.
Oh, they're very familiar with Big Gay Dan. Trust me. Daniel Redford, you fucking... You're a degenerate, I swear to God.
Yeah, let's get out of here, man. We've said we got.
All right, guys. Today the podcast was brought to you by USG Canada. These are the official Final Shot podcast gloves from USG. You can order them. There's no website yet, but you can order them. Hit up my boy Howie or go to USG on Facebook and send them a message. USG Canada for all of your boxing combat sports needs. They got shin guards. They'll do your walkout stuff, hats, t-shirts. They don't care. USG Canada. We're also brought to you by Onnit. If you're not on it, get on it at onnit.com/TFS podcast and save 10%. And that's the Final Shot.